So, you've finally surrendered to destiny, admitting that a minivan is in your future. I get it. You're staring into the abyss of adulthood wondering, is this the end? A minivan? Am I one PTA meeting away from wearing cargo shorts unironically? Well, times have changed and people movers are not only trendy looking, they're nice to drive. But none of them are cheap, so should you splurge on something like this Kia? And what's the deal with the hybrid engine? Well, we're about to find out as I clamber through all 3 seating rows. Check out all the options. I'm going to sit in the boot, I'm going to drive it, and I'm going to give you all the info you need before making a purchase. So, let's get into it. We're testing the Kia Carnival Hybrid here, which is currently only available in the top spec GT line trim. You can also get it in diesel and petrol versions and in less fancy trim levels. And we've got lots of vids on those on our channel. Just enter the search term Carnival into the channel search up there. The big 8-seat bus has been the segment leader for years and absolutely dominates in terms of sales. The Carnival accounting for 8 out of 10 people mover sales in Australia. The next best-selling people mover is the 70s sci-fi Hyundai Staria, but it's still miles off the pace. Other rivals are far more expensive, such as the Lexus LM and Volkswagen Multivan. And there's a glut of super luxury Chinese people movers en route as well. This hybrid van is the most expensive Carnival Kia has ever sold at just over $76,000 before on-road costs. So you're looking at about $80,000 plus to get one of these on the road. But that price is actually fairly sharp given how much stuff you get in it, and also when you compare it to a number of other new fully electric minivans hitting the market. Kia has improved its reputation over the decades with a strong 7-year warranty backed up by capped price servicing costing around $500 per visit to the Kia dealer in this case, although the hybrid service intervals are 10,000 kilometres unlike the pure petrol and diesel models which come with 15,000 kilometre gaps, and those two are also a fair bit cheaper to service. So, what do you reckon about the look? Let me know in the comments below, but me personally, I don't mind it. It's got a touch of machismo, a bit of I could tow something, but I probably won't because I'm only front-wheel drive. The LED headlights are super cool. Even the 19-inch alloy wheels are a bit special, but don't you dare call it a people mover or a minivan. Nope. According to Kia, this bad boy is a GUV, which stands for Grand Utility Vehicle. Pretty fancy, right? Because apparently rebranding makes everything cooler and more expensive. People movers aren't the rolling shame wagons they used to be. Remember the Toyota Tarago? Yeah, great car if your goal was to look like the unofficial Uber for your kids' soccer team. These days, people movers are less dorky parent-mobile and more, hey, I might be fun at barbecues. Progress, my friends, progress. This GUV is powered by a plugless petrol-electric hybrid powertrain. That means you get a teeny tiny turbo petrol engine that joins forces with a rather capable electric motor. The electric motor draws power from a small 1.5 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery that is recharged via the petrol engine or regenerative braking. And unlike Toyota plugless hybrids, there's no EV button, so you can't force it into EV mode. So essentially the car decides when to do petrol mode, EV mode or combined mode. But ultimately, it's pretty good at deciding when to do that, and it's all a very smooth process as well. Big, modern, and just a little bit fancy is how I would describe this interior. There's loads of room, there's plenty of storage, there's a lot of tech, and most of it's useful, and everything looks and feels pretty good. Granted, there's a few scratchy plastics here and here and here, but in general, the material quality is pretty good. Soft touch plastics here, synthetic leather on the doors and on the dashboard. And I like the piano black accents. There's a little bit of piano black and here and on the doors, but not too much. And the seats too, they're really good. The synthetic leather upholstery on all seats is rather luscious and soft, and the front seats are nicely shaped and comfortable across longer drives, thanks to supportive cushioning. You've got 8-way power adjustment for driver and passenger and 4-way power lumbar adjust for the driver, and together with good reach and rake adjustment on the steering wheel, it's easy to find a comfy seating position. Storage solutions are above average in this vehicle, which is good. You've got a huge central bin here, a little incidental storage area there for odds and sods, and these cup holders are massive. They're spring loaded and their large size comes as no surprise because this vehicle was developed for the American market in mind, and that market loves large drinks. And look at this, it even fits my 1 litre mega gulp, let alone the 750ml bottle. Then you've got incidental storage here with a nice rubberized mat, and you've also got the rubberized mat with the wireless phone charger, which is nice, it won't slip around too much. 2 USB-C ports, and they're pretty powerful. I don't know exactly what they are, maybe 30 watts or something like that, but I have plugged in my laptop USB-C to USB-C and it charges it. Slowly, but it does it, which is cool. And then here you can switch between charging or connectivity. Plus you've got a 12-volt socket here, which is great, and one of the most beautifully engineered doors. That is just delightful. There's a small glove box, but there's no secondary glove box, no shelf, and no sunglasses holder, which is a bit disappointing, but you do get the digital rear camera, which is so good with this mirror because the back's full of stuff, you can still see clearly. Plus there's a bunch of controls up here for things like the sunroof, which is quite nice. I'm not a massive fan of the rotary gear shifter, which is specific to the GT line models. Plus there's drive mode, auto hold and electric park brake buttons below that, along with parking sensor and camera toggle buttons, not to mention the heated and cooled seat switches. I like that it comes with a high-end Bose stereo as well. There's buttons near the steering wheel so the driver can operate the powered side doors or turn them off altogether, along with the powered tailgate and a switch for towing mode. Tech levels are pretty good for a car that's not brand spanking new, like a lot of the Chinese challengers entering this people mover space at the moment. So you've got 2 12.3-inch digital screens housed behind a single pane of glass. It looks really nice, and both have sharp visuals. They are crisp and clear and easy to look at, and have pretty intuitive interfaces as well. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect, and the central touchscreen offers wired and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto functionality. Plus it's got a good native operating system with inbuilt GPS sat-nav and connected services like weather and traffic updates. More features are available when you sign up to the Kia Connect app. This brings remote car functionality and a lot of cool features when you pair the vehicle to your phone. But bear in mind that mainstream brands like Toyota and Hyundai and Kia have made no secret of the fact they will take your personal driving data and send it to overseas companies to disseminate and do what they will with. So while you do get more remote vehicle monitoring and more doodads, you're also sending a lot of free data to big tech companies. For me, personally, not interested. There's heaps of depth and tweakability to the car's systems, including a diagnostics check, different tow settings, seats, lights, climate control tweaks, and also safety system adjustments. And you'll want to do this last one because the speed limit warning is incessant and annoying and inconsistent, because sometimes it picks up the wrong speed limit, so it's beeping at you for no reason. I've set it up so that you hit the favorite button on the steering wheel, the star, and it comes up straight to that menu. You hit it, you turn it off, good to go, and I'd recommend you do it too. I also like this touch sensitive and context sensitive panel here, which switches between climate control and a whole bunch of shortcut buttons. It makes the car feel ultra modern, but is also really useful because it gives you quick access to a lot of systems. And you don't have to drill through a whole bunch of the touchscreen to get there either. The 12.3-inch digital driver's display is also really good, with 2 different modes, traditional and ultra modern, with all the usual trip computer and fuel consumption figures. My favourite screen is the hybrid one, as I like to try and keep it in EV mode as often as possible to save fuel, and this tells you exactly when it's happening, along with a little EV light. There's also a very good head-up display, so you don't even need to take your eyes off the road. The parking camera system is great, with sharp visuals and loads of camera angles for both the front and rear camera views. There's a top-down view and also a drag and scroll 3D mode, both of which make parking a lot easier. Speaking of parking, the big bus can even park itself. You hold down the parking camera button here for a few seconds. It gives you some instructions on the screen, or you can get out of the car and park it completely remotely. It's got all these, in fact, there's 8 buttons on this key fob. There's a lot. You can even open the doors remotely. But this remote parking system is actually pretty useful, because if you've got a single car garage, for instance, and you've got a lot of junk either side and you can't open the door when it's in, you can get out of the car, use the key fob to bring it forwards and backwards, and it could be quite handy. When it comes to safety, the Carnival ticks all the boxes. You've got 8 airbags that cover occupants in all 3 seating rows, plus all the latest safety tech, a 5-star ANCAP safety rating, and 5 ISOFIX and top tether child seat anchorages. All right, the journey into the belly of the beast begins in earnest, and I almost don't know where to start. There's a lot going on back here, but I'll start with the seats. They are comfortable. They're pretty nice on your posture there, and adjustable, which we'll get to in a minute. And general roominess is very good too. I've got plenty of leg room. I can sort of stick my feet under the seats there. My feet are a little bit raised off the ground, but I do like the fact that this whole area under here is nice and flat. There's no transmission tunnel. Probably the least impressive thing is headroom. I'm about 183 centimeters, 6 foot, and I've got very little headroom, and that's in large part thanks to this moonroof here, which is openable, which is kind of cool. Amenity in this top spec GT line Carnival is next level. There's little buttons here to open and close the doors, or you can do it with the handles. You've got a 12-volt socket, cup holders, USB ports in the back of both seats, plus there's air vents in the ceiling with unique climate control zoning for the back seats as well, plus reading lights. But wait, there's more. You've got heated rear seats for these 2 outboard seats in case your tushy gets a bit cold in winter. Power operated windows. Look how big those windows are. They're awesome. Some people movers don't even get power operated or openable windows because they're kind of based on a van, so you can't open it. And the windows have the sun blinds as well, plus there's good storage. Each seat back has 2 separate pockets. There's a bag hook here, and you can adjust the passenger seat from back here. And the seats themselves are so modular that you could practically reassemble them into a brand new IKEA sofa. Don't believe me? Watch this. Well, it's a bit of hard yakka. I wouldn't recommend pulling the middle seat out by yourself, but it is a very versatile passenger area here. They slide, they fold. This middle seat acts as a little table with cup holders, and best of all for families, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ISOFIX and top tether child seat anchorages. Why you'd want to have 5 kids at such young infant ages is beyond me. I've got 3 and it's pretty hard work. Getting into the 3rd row seats is a little trickier for adults, but it's not impossible. Hop out here, hit this, slide that back in, and there we go. Now, the rear seat room here is actually not terrible. I've still got way too much leg room there, and I still have okay leg room back here. My feet go under the seats. The seats themselves aren't as comfy as these for sure, and I don't think you'd want to have 3 adults across the back here. We have done it, you can do it, but 3 kids, no problemo. Headroom is pretty tight for a 6 foot individual, but amenity back here is phenomenal. You've got 2 cup holders on each side, USB-C ports on each side, reading lights, air vents. This is an exquisitely versatile car. Ooh, one more thing too. Even sunshades. Not bad. The side doors also close by yanking the handle or touching the button. 2 really nice features. And you've got a powered tailgate, which reveals a lot of room. You can fit camping gear, you can fit the dog, you can fit an entire soccer team. Probably even a marching band, because why stop at practicality when you can host a tailgate concert back here? And I did promise I would sit in here, so let's give it a go. That is ridiculous. That is so roomy. It's wild. You've got two really big shelves here, and they're actually very useful, plus a 12-volt socket, pretty good LED light illuminating the rear, plus 4 shopping bag hooks. I like that. And another 4 shopping bag hooks that are actually for the cargo net, but they work better as shopping bag hooks, I reckon. There's plenty of versatility back here as well. So you can fold these flat like that, or you can manhandle them into the boot recess. It's actually pretty easy, and that boot recess wouldn't be there if it was all drive, because that's where the diff housing would live. And where's the spare tyre, you may ask? Well, normally it lives under the belly of the car, way over there between the front and rear wheels, and it is painful to unbolt and get out. But that's in the non-hybrid models. The hybrid gubbins mean that there's no room under the vehicle for that, so you get no spare tyre, just a puncture repair kit. Pros and cons. But this is a supremely versatile vehicle and very, very large. Plus, it's got good road manners. Let's roll out. There's a reason why the Carnival is the dominant species in the people mover market. Well, actually, there's several reasons, but one of them is because, well, it drives very nicely. The hybrid powertrain is a known quantity, and it's a very good unit. It's fairly quiet, it transitions smoothly between electric and petrol modes, and best of all, it generates enough mumbo to shift the Carnival's chubby 2.3 tonne mass easily and swiftly. That said, if you plan on towing or carrying super heavy loads regularly, the diesel might be a better option. This hybrid powertrain is available in several other vehicles from both Hyundai and Kia, and I've tested it in a few other models, including the Santa Fe, and I quite like it. And unlike some plugless hybrid vehicles from other manufacturers, this one can operate at speeds of up to 100 kilometers an hour. Hyundai reckons 110 kilometers an hour, this thing will work in pure EV mode. Now, I haven't managed to get it quite that fast, about 80 kilometers an hour, but that's still pretty impressive. And what I like about this particular setup is that it can deliver very good fuel economy. And if you're not quite ready to jump into an EV to make that big leap, this is a great stepping stone. It sort of gets you used to what it's like to drive silently and what an electric motor feels like. Because the e-motor is integrated into the transmission, it means when you're in EV mode, it can still change gears and reach higher speeds. It would be nice if Kia offered this vehicle with all-wheel drive, because particularly in the wet, the front wheels handbrake traction and it does feel a bit sketchy here and there, but by and large, the system works quite well. Fuel consumption is claimed to be sub 6 litres, and while we didn't get it quite that low, we did manage to get a very impressive overall figure, especially considering the different types of driving and the different scenarios we put this vehicle through. In terms of how this vehicle feels when you turn, when you go, and when you stop, it's 2 thumbs up from me. I mean, I'm cruising along here, and when an idiot jumps out of his driveway without looking and I have to slam on the brakes, and when I'm going through roundabouts, it doesn't feel like a big 2.3 tonne whale. This hybrid Carnival offers an impressive driving experience. Despite the fact there's more than 4 metres of vehicle behind you, you wouldn't know it. It feels more like a mid-size SUV. You just point and shoot. This is chiefly due to the suspension changes Kia Australia has made on the vehicle, which since the facelift have gained improved rear suspension and updated steering, which make it feel a little bit less wallowy in the rear, especially when fully loaded with people and their belongings. In its natural habitat, you know, the suburbs and exurbs, the Carnival feels planted and predictable. The steering is light, the turning circle is not offensively large, and working its way through busy car parks and shopping centres is surprisingly easy thanks to all those sensors and cameras dotted around the vehicle. It's a remarkably refined vehicle too, with very good ride comfort that means you won't feel all the lumps and crags in the road. The chunky tyres fitted to the big 19-inch alloy wheels help with ride quality, and it's not too noisy either, with road and wind noise never becoming intrusive. Visibility is generally pretty good, except for head checking. and that's because it's such a long bus and there are a lot of pillars back there. But it has a secret weapon. Flick on the indicators and you get a live video feed from little cameras on either side of the car, which basically remove that blind spot for you. And it's really handy on the freeway and when changing lanes and things like that, because it is a long vehicle and sometimes it's hard to judge just how big a gap you need. Overall, the Carnival GT line with its petrol-electric hybrid powertrain exceeds expectation and drives far better than it really needs to. That it dominates the people mover market is no surprise. It's generously equipped, it's huge inside, very versatile, and most of all, it's easy to use. Granted, this is not the cheapest Kia Carnival to buy or service, and for roughly 50 grand, you could get the turbo diesel or petrol V6 version. But if your budget allows, skip those and get the hybrid, because it's perfect for urban and city battles and is worth the extra coin.